everybody. Welcome back to another episode of When Does the Fuckery End? And we got a special one for you today. Me and Kyle just went out to Jefferson Barracks Memorial Cemetery, and we spent the day out there kind of talking to some people about their loved ones. And so, actually, let's get to what we usually do here. First shot it.
We're going to do a shot of screwball.
Yeah, you're allowed to talk now. Kyle didn't talk the whole time we were at Jefferson Barracks.
I was just the sound guy, and I got fired.
Yeah, you got fired for forgetting tissues. You'll find out why later in the episode.
Skål.
But today is Memorial Day.
Yes, it is.
And so we decided to make a special episode. You're not going to hear it until about 2 weeks after Memorial Day. I understand that. But it's something to keep in the back of your mind as you listen to these people's stories. Because a lot of them are very heartwarming, and a lot of them all say pretty much the same thing, but in different words. So if you're out there and you hear this, think about what you did on Memorial Day. Did you take the time to think about the veterans that lost their lives? Or did you just look at it as a barbecue?
That's a good question. I mean, I was out there talking to these people, or listening to these people at least. So I think I've upgraded from the barbecue to actually realizing what it's all about,
Right, and as being a veteran, it's near and dear to my heart, Memorial Day, because I've lost friends and buddies. And so, I kind of went through the steps of trying to make people realize what Memorial Day is actually for. So that's what you're going to be hearing is some testimonials from people in this upcoming episode. It's going to be kind of choppy, a little bit of bits and pieces because we had to pause and go. But, bear with us. We're not very good with this editing thing yet.
Mm-hmm. And plus, it was kind of a last-minute thing, so we really didn't have a big plan this time.
No, I mean, imagine this. We're in a parking lot with 4 folding chairs and microphones set up in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
We basically look like we were homeless people with microphones.
They pretty much expected Todd to ask them for money.
Yeah, I think that's what they thought I was doing because I was like walking up and trying to approach these people, and I think they thought I was going to be soliciting them for something.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you look like it. You look like a car salesman,
A car salesman? I could probably sit on a fucking goddamn skateboard on the side of the highway and put a sign on that says, I have no legs, need food, and probably make a shit ton of money.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, we're getting off subject here. I'm not going to run through all the foundations because this is a pretty serious episode. So we'll just kind of let you guys tune in and listen to that. But, for shits and giggles, let's do a Would You Rather.
Okay. Well, hey, did Brian sponsor this one?
I believe he did this one. He sponsored 3 of them. So Brian Jefferson is his name. And he was on episode 8 or episode 11. See, now you're rehired again for being my memory. But you're definitely fired today for forgetting the tissues for that poor girl.
I know. I felt so bad because she was like tearing up and crying. And
yeah, well, like, you guys will hear her, but she was very good sport about it. When I approached her, she started crying immediately. So, that was my phone. Damn, now I'm fired.
I know you're fired, man.
All right, here's your Would You Rather.
Would you rather have crimes against you be considered legal and everybody knows it, or introduce yourself to strangers by sniffing their butts like a dog?
Oh, I'm going with sniffing the butts like a dog. I'm an awkward person anyway. I like to make people feel uncomfortable because they do when they stare at me. So the more uncomfortable I can make you, the better it's going to be. So I would rather sniff their butts.
I think I'm going to go with you because if I'm reading this correctly,
that means crimes against you are legal.
Yeah, which means they're no longer crimes.
Right. It would just be something that people could do horribly to you.
Exactly. Who would want that? I'd rather sniff somebody's butt.
Me too. I mean, it's only going to be horrible for a minute. I just stay inside and never meet new people.
Exactly. Because the crime against you could be...
someone shitting on your face.
Or, stabbing you every time you walk out the door. Who cares?
Well, that's the one thing that hasn't happened yet to me, Kyle. It's my stabbing.
Just wait.
But back to the Memorial Day thing, think about what you did this Memorial weekend, and next Memorial weekend maybe you'll think about doing things a little bit differently. That's our aim for this episode. We don't have a lot of funny stuff going on because it's kind of a day for relaxing and remembering the people who fought for this country. Mm-hmm. And I do firmly believe that if more people could find a reason to get together, I think getting behind veterans would be the one thing that would unite this country.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you listen to these people talk about their stories, they all have the same story. It's family.
Yep.
You'll see it, and I repeat myself in it a few times. But if there's one thing that could unite this country, it would be the love for our veterans and this country itself, really.
I would completely agree with that statement.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to lead you into some of these interviews, and hope you enjoy. All right. So we have Gene and Joyce here, and I'm going to go ahead and let them tell their stories, but it's another opportunity for you guys to understand out there what Memorial Day kind of means. So I'll let you ladies kick it off, whoever wants to go first.
Well, I can go first. First of all, my name is Joyce, and I currently live in Seattle, Washington. But I'm here. I came for a graduation, but Memorial Day was added to it because I don't get a chance to visit my loved ones because they're all here, and I'm so far away. And my great uncle, who I really want to talk about, was very near and dear to me. He was in the Navy, Uncle Charles. And I'll get a chance to visit his grave. I'll get a chance to visit my mother's grave, my brother's grave. This is a time where you remember your loved ones and where they came from and where they went and what they did and how they served our country. And I'm so proud of it. I'm just like bursting all over to be able to have this opportunity to go and visit on Memorial Day, as we should, with my family.
And I couldn't agree with you more. What about you?
Well, I have my husband, Corporal James Bateman, served in Vietnam, and two children, Eleanor and Maurice, are out here also in Jefferson Barracks. And I'm always glad to come on Memorial Day because that's the day that we all celebrate them. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't do it every day of the year, but we are so proud to have them in our family and that they stood up for our country.
And you were telling me earlier that when your husband was still alive, that you guys used to come out here all the time?
Yeah.
We've always come.
Yes, we've always, because we got a lot of family in the barracks.
It sounds like.
Yeah, we have a lot.
It's amazing.
And
Yes,
it's a tradition.
Yes, we got
It's
cousins.
a tradition.
We care about all of them. So we come and put flowers on all of them's grave. And we say prayers, you know, because we thank the Lord for having them, you know, being with them, you know, for as long as we had them.
And we talk about things that we did with them and, you know, what we think they might be thinking. We talk about that. We just spend time, you know, remembering.
It seems to be a common theme with everyone that we're interviewing is that the service members really come out here because it's family, you know, we're all brothers and sisters who served at some point in time, no matter what we did, it's family. So is there anything else you ladies would like to speak about?
And we just thank God for the cemetery because it's kept up so nice. And, you know, at Christmas, they lay wreaths, we lay wreaths. You know, it's just a beautiful place to come and reminisce, you know, and thank God for your kin people.
And honor those who served,
the
really.
people that served our country.
The people that serve our country. Yes.
Well, ladies, I won't keep up much more of your time, but I appreciate you sharing your story with us. And, you know, if there's anything else you would like to talk about, feel free. We're
I just
open.
want to thank you for your service.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take
All right.
care.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
All right, so next we have Sharina here, and she's been so kind to come speak with us. I guess you told me earlier that your dad was in the Navy, correct?
Yes, my father was in the Navy. He served 10 years. He left. I forgot where he was stationed at. He didn't talk about the military much, but he respected it very much so. And came to St. Louis probably a year after he left the military, but stayed in contact with a lot of his other buddies who are still inside.
Do you know what years he was in?
Say that one more time.
Do you know what years he was in?
Oh my gosh. It was before I was born.
Oh, okay.
So all the pictures I have of him and I was born in 84.
Okay.
So
Me too.
so it was prior to that time.
Okay. Okay.
Like he went right out of high school.
Well, and another thing we're trying to get from people is, what does Memorial Day mean for you? Your father served, so this is a very important date for a lot of people.
And it actually was one of the things that made me kind of look into Memorial Day a little bit more, because I'm sad to say I was one of those people who looked at it as a day off. But in speaking to him and speaking to other veterans, and then after he passed, really speaking to other veterans, it's like, we have to honor those who help us without asking for help.
Yep.
So we have a lot of people out here still living and those who have passed away protecting us. So I use Memorial Day as a day to come honor my father. I actually have a couple of family members that are buried here in Jefferson Barracks. My grandfather, 2 of my uncles, and my father. And I make sure that I come out here on those days, speak with them, thank them, and let them know that I appreciate everything that they did for us.
And you're like the third one. We seem to be getting a lot of people that have strong military ties that are the only ones who really realize what Memorial Day is for, because they have a generation after generation of military service members, and it seems like I said, it's a common theme now that we're getting with most of the people we've been speaking with, that they have multiple military members in their family. So, well, we won't keep much of your time unless there's anything else you would like to tell us, Sharina.
Thank you guys for pulling me to the side. This is really great what you're doing, and I hope more people do get a chance to hear it and realize what, the military does for people. And I get that at times it can be a little commercialized, but you guys do a great job, and you do it without asking for anything in return. I just hope that at some point in the future, we can do better for you all, especially for the ones that come home after.
Well, very well said, ma'am. Very well said. Okay, with that, we're going to let Sharina go do what she needed to do today, and we'll be back with our next guest here shortly. All right, we're back, and now we have Phyllis and Katie with us, and they're going to go ahead and tell us their story and why they're here, and I'm going to let them take it from there.
Oh, hi, my name is Phyllis, and my husband was career military. He served in both Vietnam and Desert Storm, and he passed away about, 6 years ago? But, I met him while we were in college, and he was already a Vietnam vet by that time. He had come home, and then he decided to go back in as an officer, and just the rest is history. But this day is particularly special to us because we still value the real meaning of Memorial Day, to honor those who have served, because it's no easy task being in the military. War is ugly. Nobody likes it. But we need people to defend our freedoms and our country, and we respect that. And so we come every Memorial Day to pay tribute to not just him, but all soldiers who have served.
It's easy to take it for granted,
Yeah, it is.
all the freedoms and liberties that we have here in America. And, the everyday person probably doesn't think about the people who are out there, actively making sure that we can keep our way of life and continue to prosper as a country. And I agree that the real meaning of Memorial Day sometimes gets lost in the days off.
Right.
And, beginning of summer, it is a fun weekend, but at the same time, you have to stop and reflect and really
Exactly.
think about those who gave their lives or, just spent their lives protecting the country.
And I'm going to go ahead and say this again. I said it before, but we're coming across a common theme with everyone that we spoke to, is that you're not here just for the loved one that you came to see. You're here because you want to give tribute to the other veterans, and because
Right.
it's a family, and that's
Exactly.
something that we keep hearing over and over. And it's amazing to me that the people that I am talking to that are coming here actually get that, but then there's people out there that just like I said before, don't understand that there's veterans dying every day protecting our country.
Exactly.
And it's a shame that everybody thinks it's a day off.
Yeah. I agree.
And for your guys' loss, it kind of, for me, it would feel like a slap in the face. So that's why I'm trying to do this podcast and get your guys' input on, why you're here and what you do. And
That's good
Yeah.
because it is kind of harder for people who aren't directly associated with the military to grasp what all is involved.
Mm-hmm.
They just see it as a distant thing, not directly related to them, but it is.
right.
You hear
'cause
stories.
We're fighting
about-
for their benefit.
Yeah, you hear stories about, the soldiers that have lost their lives, but it kind of, to most people, becomes just a number. Like, they don't think about each individual person. Each one of them had a family, had loved ones that's mourning their loss, and it's really important to stop and reflect on that.
What branch was your husband in?
Army.
In the Army?
And the Air Defense Artillery.
Okay. And then you said he went in a second time as an officer?
Yes.
Was he enlisted prior to that? Or
Yes, he was.
Okay, so he switched
He was
over.
enlisted for Vietnam, and then he got his education and went back in as an officer.
That's interesting because I always say that most officers should probably be enlisted first so that way they understand how things work.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I believe that too. It's great
It does make a
because
difference.
It gives them an idea. They've been there,
Mm-hmm.
and they understand what their men are going through. And
Now, you said that you met him after he had been in Vietnam. Do you know how
Correct.
many tours he actually did, or did he ever talk about it?
just one tour of Vietnam.
Just one? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, we won't take up much more of your time, but unless there's more you would like to say, we're here all day, so we got plenty of time. If you'd like to speak more about your husband and what he did, or
He was, I'll just say he was basically a pacifist. And he hated war, but he recognized the need for defense and that kind of thing. So I don't want people to think that all military are, gung-ho war, we got to get them type people,
right?
There's many reasons for being in and serving.
Yeah.
Okay, and just one more question.
Sure.
Do you know what his ranks were?
Let's see, as an enlisted, he got up to a Spec 4,
Okay,
and when he retired, he was captain.
a captain,
Yeah.
and that's a pretty hefty career there. So,
Yeah, he did his 20 years.
Yep.
oh, yeah, I was gonna do 20, but
Yeah.
things happen.
Stuff happens.
But I appreciate your husband's service, and I like to always say that if it wasn't for the Vietnam vet guys, we wouldn't have it as good as we do. So,
Yeah.
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 Thank you very
well,
much.
all right, ladies, we'll let you get to what you were going to do, and we won't take up any more of your time. So, thank you very much, Phyllis and
Thank
Katie, or
Thank
Kate.
Yeah,
you.
Katie.
Katie.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you
right,
guys
thank
have
you
a
very
lovely
much.
day.
Thanks for
too.
letting us share our story.
Oh no, thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Kevin here with us. He's decided to sit down and tell us what Memorial Day means to him and the service members in his family and things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to him and let him give us a little bit of what he knows.
A little bit of what I know is my dad was in the Korean War, the forgotten war, and nobody talks about that one much.
What branch was he in?
Army. He had he'd never talked about it, man. Never talked about it. He always told us he'd peel potatoes. And all my buddies that I talked to, my age, that their dads went in a Korean War, they also said they peeled potatoes. They didn't talk about that war. He had I've been trying to find out what that was. There's a little, on one of his pictures, he got a little, like, lightning bolt or something on it. It's on a hat or a shoulder, I forget. I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
He
I'm
told me
uncertain.
He didn't go. He just flat out didn't tell us anything about it. So we go every year. She usually rides up here with me, and we ride her up here and see all our friends and family. We got family in here, and we got pay our respects for the guys that gave up what they gave up for us.
And that's admirable. And, because a lot of people don't even really take the time to do that, even on a day that's supposed to be for things like this. And
Absolutely.
so I appreciate that. But so your dad was in the Korean War.
Yes.
you come up here and you support the veterans every Memorial Day and also to see your father. Do you do anything else with veterans or?
I got a buddy of mine, Craig Gallamancy. I really have a hard time saying his name. He was my foreman when I was a kid, 24 years old. He was probably 40 at the time. He was a sergeant, Marine over in Vietnam, and he would tell me, "You want time for this story, or?"
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be.
No, yeah, you got time, man.
Here, but anyway, it's a good story, man. Not a good story. I'm sorry, not a good story because this guy, and I'm not saying it because he died. One of the best guys I ever worked for in my life. Nicest guy I ever met. Smiled all the time. Lived life to the fullest. He went over there, and now I'm in 4 or 5 years of it. You know, he was a sergeant, and I'm sorry, it was Army, not Marines. And he said these Marines kept going up every day for 2 freaking weeks. And he didn't tell me what a hill was, but it sure sounds like Hamburger Hill. And he said for 2 weeks, these Marines kept going up, eating bullets, and coming back down, bringing their wounded and dead. And they kept trying to take this, but they couldn't do it because they had all them rats down in the holes, right? And they just kept getting. It was a waste. It was a waste of mankind. Period. Anyway, so they come down, and then his CO comes over to me. He says, "Look, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to."
Part of the 707 in Jefferson.
Okay. Hey, well, we just had someone walk up. When you're done, would you like to do an interview with us?
We're going to come back around. We're
Okay.
gonna do the JV.
Well, when you come back around, would you mind?
Sure, for sure.
All right.
Provide.
Cool.
I was in Fallujah at 0405.
All right. Perfect. Sorry about that.
That's all right. So anyway, yeah, you got a lot of traffic here, man. It's great. I love it. I usually can't hardly get in there during this time of day. It's not that packed right now, and I must have missed a big traffic, I guess. But anyway, he said they kept trying to take that hill for 2 weeks straight. He says they come down there wounded to dead. And he says, I'm sergeant. I got 20 guys in my platoon. He says, I think he said 20 guys, something like that. And he says, my CO comes over. He goes, get your men ready tomorrow. Marines are dropping off that hill. We're going to take it tomorrow morning. You guys get a good night's sleep. Get ready for this. Look around, see what you got to do. You know, get your men prepared, period, right? He said we were sweating bullets all night. Nobody slept. They were scared to death. They just knew they were going to die if most of them weren't going to die. He said the CO come over the next morning, comes over, gets on the radio, and gives them all the coordinates and numbers, and the bombers come in and blew the hell out of that hill. They walked up and took it. He said it was the neatest thing I ever seen in my life. He said, except for when I got sprayed with Agent Orange.
Yeah.
And the flamethrowers, and he said he had stories that would make you probably do too. It'll make you sick, but those guys went through some hell.
Oh yeah.
They do still, but he came back, and he says all them guys that come back all had excuses. That's because I asked him. I said, how do you have such a good attitude about everything? He says, well, just a different person, right? Some people can't handle it, some people can, and I got to respect that. But he come back, he never even he talked about it a little bit here and there, and he said he didn't like talking about it, but once he started talking, he wouldn't stop. Kept going on, and I'd listen because it was interesting to find out how he made it back. He don't know how he made it back. He said he took a bath for 6 days, maybe even 2 weeks, every day, trying to get that dirt off. He said it was so bad. But he said everybody in his platoon was dead. The last guy just died when I was talking to him. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, we got sprayed with Agent Orange. He said, I'm going to get it too. I said, how do you know that, Craig? He said, every one of them died, Kevin, some weird cancer, and I'm going to get it. I said, yeah, whatever, man. You ain't gonna. You're in good shape. You're healthy. By God, I went to a different company. I worked for Local 36, sheet metal worker. So when you get laid off, you go somewhere else when they got work. I worked for these guys for a couple of years, and next thing you know, I just heard Craig passed away 6 months ago, and I didn't even hear about it. He kept it secret. Said he laid in his bed for 6 months in a fetal position. He got some kind of weird cancer, and down he went fast.
Man, and that's a shame, like you said, with that Vietnam and the Agent Orange and things like that nature, and it's just taking those guys down left and right. But, you know, that was a war, and they didn't know what was going to happen. I guess in our era now, we got all...
Political war.
The what?
Very political war.
Oh, yeah, and now they got something for our wars that I was in called the burn pit lung, because we were next to these large burn pits that were burning batteries and things like that. So that you got to get put on a registry in case something happens to your lungs down the road. So it's amazing what happens in war, and that people don't understand it, and that, like you said, you just would listen to his stories, and that's a huge thing, because a lot of these times these guys don't talk about this stuff, but when they do, they need to get it off their chest. So, you know, it's a lot of people. Some people don't want to hear it. Some people do, But if that's my advice, is that if a veteran ever starts opening up to you, you just keep your mouth shut and listen to what he has to say, and make sure that he's not gonna, go crazy or anything. But let the man talk. Let him say his piece, because talking about it is actually healthier than most people think.
And it's a lot worse than everybody thinks, too, because they think they go over there and it's a big, they eat their dinner and they go out to rifles, kill people, and come back and save our country. No, there's all kinds of stuff that happens over there.
Oh, I know.
I can tell, And these guys, they fought and they seen and they smelt. And he told me all these things that I didn't understand.
Yeah, months without a shower and.
Oh God! But the smell of dead body, dead parts hanging in trees, all this stuff that he took pictures of all that stuff. He said I brought it all home in case anybody in the Agent Orange. He said I took pictures of that in case they all, because the government said for years it was wrong. That Agent Orange didn't hurt nobody.
Well,
Finally now doing it.
Here's a fun fact about. You said your dad was in the Korean War. Well, I know a Korean War vet. His name's Harry Hope. And they actually survived many days on Tootsie Rolls.
Oh, really?
Because they were out of C rations. And so they actually called into the Army and said, we need more Tootsie Rolls. Well, that was code word for ammo. Well, they thought that it really meant Tootsie Rolls. So they dropped them a bunch of barrels of Tootsie Rolls. And so they were shoving them in their pockets and trying to keep them warm. But that's how they survived like 3 or 4 days on Tootsie Rolls, and so now he keeps one in his pocket everywhere he goes in case he gets hungry.
That's pretty much what Craig was saying too about the rations. See, there's things we don't understand because I had to sign the draft when I became of age, and I tell you the truth, it was the end of Nam War, and they were still pulling people over there. I was scared. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to that place.
Well, anyone who tells you that they're not,
but I mean, if I have to, if I had to do it, and we're being attacked like their buildings in 9/11 and that, I mean, everybody want to do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Right. The difference is between signing and not signing up. The wars.
You just 58,000 on that wall.
Yep.
58,000 plus, and adding to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not everybody.
Right. Oh no, I can't. Yeah, you still got MIA and
Right.
POW and.
Right. And I appreciate what you guys done, man. I really do. And I appreciate what my brother Stoney, he's in here. He just an ex-statesman, motorcycle rider, real good guy.
So your brother's in Jefferson Barracks as well?
What's that?
You say your brother's in Jefferson Barracks?
He's a brother in heart.
Oh, okay.
Rode with him a lot. He rides for a statesman.
And what branch was he in?
I believe he was the Army.
The Army?
Stoney was his name.
Okay.
Nickname, but it's Richard Stone.
So you know a lot of veterans then, and
Yes.
you
I got
know
aunts and uncles down here. I got all kinds of. I got 4 or 5 plots to hit today, and I don't even know who's all in here. And I just know a few that I know the numbers to. My mom and dad are first.
yeah. Well, it's a sad sight to see, but it's also one of the most beautiful sights to see.
It's beautiful, man. You're right. I mean, the perfect straight line of all those stones.
Cover and alignment.
Unbelievable.
Well, Kevin, we won't take up any more of your time. I appreciate you sitting down and talking with us.
No sweat, man. Appreciate you asking me. I feel I feel fortunate, you know. Say my piece. I don't know. I didn't go to war. I feel like maybe I should have done something, but we didn't have war at my time. I was always in peacetime. I got lucky.
Yeah, but it's the fact that you celebrate Memorial Day and look at it as a holiday it should be, and that's kind of what we're out here doing, is trying to make people realize, you know, that there's people like you that lost friends that have been in war, and your father was in war, and that, you know, Memorial Day is a time to sit back and reflect on the people that were lost fighting for this country, or that have fought for this country and lost their lives after. Now we're here with Victoria. She's decided to come talk with us, so everybody bear with her. She's got a pretty emotional story from what I understand. So we're going to kind of give it over to her and let her tell us why she's here and what Memorial Day means, and, you know, what kind of veterans she has in her family and things like that.
Sorry, I'm kind of emotional, but my grandpa was a Marine, and I never got to meet him, so it's really hard, and I've been told that we're quite a lot alike, so I just wish that I could have met him And then my husband is also deployed right now, and that's been really hard for me and my kids, and because he won't be around for at least 13 months. So.
Oh. So, where's your husband deployed?
Well, right now he's at the border, El Paso, so at least he's still stateside this time, but the first time he was in Afghanistan, so that was worse, but
So being stateside gives you that little sense of security, huh?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, what your grandpa was in the Marine Corps. Was he in World War II, Vietnam?
Vietnam.
Vietnam. And so, did he come back from Vietnam, or?
He did, and then and his health failed him before I could meet him, so.
Well, we're sorry to hear that. But so Memorial Day holds a very special place in your heart for him, then. Yeah, and see, that's what we're trying to get across to everyone that's listening and will listen to this podcast is, Memorial Day means more than just barbecues and things of that nature. So, is there anything else you'd like to say? I know that was pretty hard for you. What branch is your husband in?
He's National Guard, but he's active right now, so
Okay.
Army.
Yeah, so he's still deployable then at any moment.
Yeah.
And that's hard on military families. I never personally, me and my wife were both in the Marine Corps, but my ex-wife. But it's hard on families when loved ones are deployed. You don't know if they're going to come home or not. So that's another thing that people need to start thinking about.
Yeah.
When is he expected home?
He should be back in November. So.
And that's pretty exciting then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're excited. We're planning on going on a trip to celebrate when he comes back.
So you said your grandpa was a Marine?
Sorry, but
You said your grandpa was a Marine?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have pictures of him.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Well,
pretty proud.
we won't keep you very much longer. I'm just happy that you came down and...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to hear with the motorcycle. We're sitting out in a parking lot, so in case people don't know this already, but it's very hard to hear sometimes. But I'm very happy that you came and told your story, and you showed some emotion, because that lets people know that this day means a lot to people, and to some people it may not. You may not have a veteran in your family, so it may not mean as much to you. But to everyone else, it should. It should mean a lot to everyone.
Yeah.
Because people got to fight for their freedoms, and sometimes people don't get to see their loved one come back, and it's a sad thing. And so memorializing these men and women who fought for us is a huge part. And I'm glad to see you come out here to do that for your grandpa today.
Yeah.
All right, Victoria, we'll let you get to what you needed to do. I thank you so
you.
much for coming
Yeah.
over and having a moment with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're sitting out in front of Jefferson Barracks, and we have, what's your name?
You can call me Diane.
Diane. We have Diane with us, and today we're trying to do a little bit of something for you guys out there that are listening to remind people about what Memorial Day is actually about. So we're sitting out in front of Jefferson Barracks and trying to get people's stories. So Diane's going to tell us a little bit about her family member's service and things of that nature, and so here you go.
Hi. Hi, everybody. My family and I, we come out to Jefferson Barracks every year. We live on the Illinois side, and it's always really important for us to come out here and pay our respects to everybody. Currently, we don't have any family members buried out here, but I consider everybody family out here because I have a husband who's prior Marines and Navy and still serving. And we have family members who are still alive who have served, and I'm just forever grateful to them because I feel like having these people in our lives, it means so much because they give the sacrifice, and some gave the ultimate sacrifice, which means everything. And that's why we should respect our flag and our veterans and help them as much as we can. I had a grandfather who was in the Army Air Force, was back in the Korean era, and he served for many years there till he retired, and he was ended up being a farmer when he got out and raised 8 kids.
See
And
that?
one of his sons was an Army veteran, and he was in the Vietnam. And when he came back home, he never talked about it much, obviously. It's a lot of stuff he didn't want to see, or, obviously, or talk about. So after he passed away, I know that was really hard on his daughter because he was never the same. And then I had a stepfather who was a military police, and he served during the Vietnam era. And he was always proud to serve his country, always respected his flag, and couldn't stand anybody who didn't support their veterans.
Well,
And
I find this very interesting that you had people in your family that served, but you said that you come out here to pay your respects. And see, that's interesting to me because a lot of people don't even do that. They think that they have to have a loved one here to come pay their respects.
No, my husband tells me that we're all brothers and sisters, regardless of what branch we served in. They served in, like the fellow chiefs' wives that I get to associate with now online because of my husband. We're family. We're sisters. You don't have to be blood related to be family, and I just feel it's so important to show that respect and pay it forward and teach my children about it. Like, we just went out there today, and my daughter found the oldest grave out there, which was really cool. And she's all excited, and I was trying to teach her about how important it is to be out there and to show them that we care.
Yep.
Because so many don't know.
Right, exactly. That's why we're kind of doing this today, is we're trying to get as many stories as we can out for these people because, as I said earlier, a lot of people, they think it's just a day off of work and it's a barbecue time, but there's people like you who take your Memorial Day off to go actually visit these people that as you said, are family, but a lot of people wouldn't look at it that way. So
We are.
we applaud you for that.
I appreciate it.
I really don't know what else to say besides that because, like you said, you didn't have anyone in there that you were supposed to go see. You just kind of went and did your own thing.
I appreciate it because I know someday my husband and I are going to be out there. Because I told my husband I couldn't think of a better place to be.
Yeah.
You couldn't find better company.
Well, I'll be out there with you guys. But, well, thank you, ma'am, for your time. I appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to talk about, or?
I'd just like to tell everybody, remember your veterans, past and present, support them, do what you can for them, because I know there's a lot of them coming back, including my husband. They don't come back the same. It might be physical, it might be emotional, it could be mental, like the whole mental health thing right now. I was watching this thing last night on PBS, and they talking about this family. They had a son who's a veteran, and he committed suicide. And they just didn't know it. They didn't quite see the signs, and they felt guilty for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so watch out for your veterans. Watch out for your family, anybody that you might see that might need help. Because just because somebody served and maybe they didn't die over there doesn't mean that something can't happen on this side.
And then that is, you hit the nail right on the head there. It is a big issue with the veteran community, which we talk about on the podcast a lot. But I just want to thank you for your time, ma'am. And you were our very first person to come up and speak with us. So you got the honor of that today. No, thank you for doing it. I really appreciate it.
It always makes me want to tear up.
All right, we're good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. I think we might get in trouble by AutoZone for doing this.
Do you think they're going to come out here and tell you that you can't be here?
Yeah, that's the second time that guy's came out with his cell phone.
What?
So that's the second time that guy's come out here and looked out here with his cell phone. He was like, whatever, man, I'm just doing what I can.
Tell him to put it where the sun don't shine.
I mean, even if they call the cops are going to come over and be like, hey, you guys can't do that. We'll be like, okay.
Yep. All right, see ya.
Yeah.
We'll go find a new spot to pitch tent.
I don't see anything wrong with what you're doing.
I don't think there's anything. I mean, at first I thought it might be too invasive, but, some people like to talk about it, some people don't, so.
I think people need to hear stuff.
All right, well, thank you so much, ma'am. It was very nice to meet you.
Thank you. I
Yep, thank you for giving us the time. So, we're sitting out here once again, and we're getting people to tell their stories about why they're here and whatnot. But usually we're trying to get the families of loved ones that have deceased ones here. But I have a World War II veteran with me, and I can't pass up the opportunity. So I'm going to let him tell his story. He's actually coming to see his wife on Memorial Day. So we have Joe Miles with us. Hey, Joe, how are you doing today?
How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good, good. So I was wondering if you would tell us a little bit about your service.
Sure. Well, I was in the Navy for 4 years and 3 months. I served on the battleship Iowa, the heavy cruiser Bremerton, and the light cruiser Atlanta. The Atlanta was in after everything was over. They was out of the war zones and everything. On the Bremerton and on the the Bremerton and the Iowa, we were into the war zones, And you can see what I got up here. I can tell you what they are.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and tell us about that, Joe? What is all that? So he's got a World War II veteran Navy hat on, and he's going to tell us.
The first one is World War II Victory Medal. Then it was the American Theater, Asiatic Pacific, Japanese, Tokyo and all over, and China. I was in China for about 11 months. And then that's the Philippines. That's the one that they put on as far as medals is concerned, but I didn't put any bars on because I've been almost every island over there, I was there for Guam, Saipan, Tarawa.
Yeah, this is a great story. How old are you, Joe?
94.
94 years old, ladies and
94.
gentlemen. 94 years old, served in World War II, and now he's out here paying his respects to other veterans and his wife as well. So, that's kind of what this is about. That's what this day is about, is remembering all of our veterans and people that served our country.
I was where they dropped the second bomb, Nagasaki. About 3 months, I guess it was before we could get in. But I have a picture at home where a group of us is standing around and the arrow says ground zero. Wow.
I bet you have tons of amazing stories, don't you, Joe?
Well, a lot of good stories. I'll put it like that, and there's a lot of bad ones.
Yeah. Well, I know that feeling, There's the good times and the bad times
That's
when
right.
you serve,
Yeah.
Well, there's never really a good time. It's just what you make of it while you're there with your buddies,
Well, I tell you what, the Navy was a good place. And I had a lot of good buddies that was Marines. And they used to get mad at me all the time. Because in order to get to my compartment, I had to go through the Marines. And I'd go through and I'd get halfway through and I'd holler out, "What the hell's a Marine?" Well, then I could hear some of my buddies say, "We'll get that little something."
Oh, man.
I have to watch my language.
No, you don't have to watch your language. You can say whatever you want on this podcast, Joe.
Yeah.
You say whatever you want to, man.
Yeah, and I lost 2 buddies that was in Korea. They were Marines. Good buddies. They went in at the same time, and one got it on Tarawa, and the other one, he got it right after that. And we had a lot of good buddies. I had a lot of friends. And back in them days, guys, I'm talking about, not women, guys, because women was only waves or something like that, but buddies would go down and register for the draft, And then as soon as they got their card for registration, they went downtown up on the 9th floor and joined the Navy. And they were only 15 years old.
He was only 15, is that it? 16 when he joined? He did
Yeah,
say it
that's
was
the
they
way.
had to give him- he had to eat bananas.
That's the way they done it. You know, they couldn't get in till they were 17, so they go down and register for the draft board, and then they give it to them. Well, if they take it down, show them at the Navy, they see it says that's him, all right, take him. You know,
So how old were you, Joe, when you joined?
they take them 15, 16 years old, but they didn't know the difference.
Right.
They've caught them. They've caught some of them, you know, and they put them in the brig on the ship. And one of them, he was awarded, I forget what medal it was, but he done the same thing. He joined when he was 14, but he was a big guy. And they got hit, and the gunner, the quad, where they got hit, he run in there and he started shooting with the 40s, you know, and he got hit again, threw him back. Well, that's when they found out how old he was.
Oh, man.
They put him in the brig until they got back.
They put him in the brig for serving his
Yeah.
country?
Then anything that he had, this time served, and he would have got the Purple Heart and all that, all wiped out.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I mean, I couldn't even imagine a 14-year-old nowadays going into war.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
back then, you're telling me these guys did it all the time. That was just a whole different
Yeah.
generation of people that served. I mean, they wanted to go fight for their country.
That's right. You're hitting it right to smack in the head. The youngest, all they wanted to do was get in there and do it, take care of it. Now, my brother-in-law, he was at Pearl, and he was hit on the West Virginia, and she went down. The Oklahoma got hit, she went down, and the Maryland was just south of them, and she got hit and just damaged. But my brother-in-law, when it was on Sunday morning, he was a Catholic, and he wanted to go to Mass, and they didn't have a chaplain, Catholic chaplain on there, so they put out the word, anybody who wants to go to Mass, we'll take you over to the West Virginia. So they all went over, and they were in Mass when the Japs hit.
Oh, wow.
You know, and the funny thing about it was, two cousins of mine and their wives and myself was in Mass here in St. Louis. And we come out, we get in the car, and my cousin, he reaches over after he got started, turned the radio on, and says, the Japanese is now bombing Pearl Harbor. And I used to always tell my brother-in-law, you know, I know what saved you. I said, hell, I said, you was getting it, and we'd come to our church same time.
Well, Joe, I would love to thank you for your time and telling us just a little bit about your story. It was great hearing it.
Yeah.
I would love to get your number sometime and have you come talk on my podcast for longer than
Yeah.
that because, like I
Well,
said, I'm sure you got amazing stories.
What I'm taking right now is for this.
Yeah, I got a few of them myself. But
No,
this
I'm
is,
talking about, buddy, I'm talking about the age of there, you know, and she just got picked me some up today. It's my daughter-in-law.
Well, all right, Joe. Well, thank you for your time, sir. We'll let you get.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh no, sir. Thank you for embracing us with your time because
Yeah.
I love hearing the stories of older veterans, and you know it's
Sure.
a history that people
Well,
really
I
don't.
belong to VFW, and I also belong to the Legionnaires.
Okay, so where are you from, Joe? Right,
I was born and raised downtown St. Louis.
downtown St. Louis.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day I'll give your daughter my number, and we'll exchange, and then maybe one day you can come out to my house, and we'll just let you talk about your stories.
Yeah, I'd like to bring something, you know.
Do you like to
I
drink,
got
Joe?
The good picture, yeah.
A half a beer? Well, then good. You can
Well,
have a
I'm
half a
gonna
beer with
tell
us,
you.
Joe.
Every port that we hit, which wasn't many, but it was something that we'd already taken back. And when we went in for supplies or something, they'd say, well, there's a bar up here. You guys can go up there. Well, we would go up, and it taught you how to drink before you went in, and it made it worse when you was in.
See, ladies and gentlemen, the name of the podcast is When Does the Fuckery End? And it sounds like it never does because it was happening and going on way back then, too. So
Then when I got married, I was married for 68 years. This year here would have been our 72nd. And my wife, she didn't know I drank. I haven't drank, 50 years?
Oh.
I drink a glass of beer my son will give me once in a while, and I take a sip, and I've had enough. I just lost the taste of it.
All right, sir. Well, like I said, once again, thank you for your time, and we'll let you get out to what you needed to do in the first place.
And thanks again.
No worries, sir. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you just got done listening to everybody from Jefferson Barracks, and it was quite an emotional day for me and Kyle up there. You know, just to see the people and talk to them and listen to their stories. I don't know about you, but I love that Joe Miles.
Oh, my God. We're going to get Joe on here.
Joe's coming back,
Yeah,
and I think you guys should drop us a comment on whether or not we should bring back Joe, because we could do 2 hours with Joe, the life stories that this guy was telling us.
Dude, I mean, World War II, I mean, he's probably one of the very few surviving, people from World War II at this point.
Yeah, there can't be that many left.
No, I mean, he's 94, and he joined when he was like 15, 16.
Yeah, I mean, 15, 16 years
Come
old, that is
on.
absolutely incredible.
Dude, I agree.
But we also had a few short ones on there, but that's understandable. These people were emotional. They wanted to go to the grave sites, and we were kind of catching them at a vulnerable moment, which I wanted you guys to see and hear. And I'm very happy that I'm going to give a large shout out to the people that did share. I can't remember all their names again, but thank you for sharing your stories with us, because you could have just easily told me to go fuck myself.
Just like everybody
Like
else.
a lot of people did.
Yep.
But
Of course, they said it
they were
in a
pressed
nice
for
way.
time.
Yeah.
They had barbecues to go
Or
to.
we'll return.
Yeah, we'll return, and then they drive right past us, and I'd wave at them as they were leaving.
I mean, the one guy gave you a salute.
Yeah, he saluted me, but he came and interrupted the podcast. You'll hear him in the... You heard him in there. He came and he was like, hey, and I'm like, hey, you were going to come back for an interview? And he drove right by us and never came back, but he waved at me like, because I guess he felt guilty.
I want to say it was his wife.
I was guessing it was probably his wife going, we got to be here, we got to be there.
Yep.
Damn wives are always nagging.
Always in the way of man
nagging.
time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's going to do it for our episode of When Does the Fuckery End? Catch us next Friday, as they drop every Friday. And Kyle, go ahead and tell them what platforms we're on.
Okay, we are on platforms, Instagram.
You don't got to do it in that voice. Come on.
Oh, come on, man. I wanted to use
Now you're
my radio
fucking
voice.
fired. Do your piddle voice, whatever.
We're on Twitter.
Oh, all right. Do
Instagram.
professional piddle voice now.
No, it's too late. Okay, so we're on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. When does fuckery end? Fuckery is FKRY. Follow us, like, comment. Emotional outbursts.
Please
Yes.
comment, because
Yes.
guys, without you, the show's going to run out of topics.
Yep.
It's kind of like dirty jobs. We got to have people giving us ideas. I mean, we can come up
Exactly.
with them ourselves, but we want to hear from you.
Eventually, we'll run out of people to interview.
No, we won't. We never
you're
will.
right, you're right.
I mean,
But we still want people to, be like, hey, you should interview this guy.
hey, how about this? Maybe
Joe
one
Smoke.
lucky day when we get to phone things, if you comment and we like you, maybe we'll have you on the show.
Oh, man, that would be awesome.
Win a prize. The prize is
You get to be interviewed.
you get to be interviewed on When Does the
Or
Fuckery End?
if you wanted to, not just interviewed, but you could sit in on an interview or a podcast,
Yeah, or either one. But
depending on what you wanted.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But all right, ladies and gentlemen, you all have a good night, and I'll see you next time.